Hello everyone. Today I will be telling you guys a story about a plane that landed later than expected. Raymond, a 14-year-old boy, was flying by himself to Florida. The flight left from Alaska, where Raymond lived. His family wasn't flying with him because they really wanted to drive because they thought the flight would be a waste of money. However, Raymond hated the idea of driving a 130-hour road trip of 6,000 miles, so he paid for his plane ticket with his own money. This was all of his life savings, $1,000. The day that they all left for the trip, Raymond said his final goodbyes to his family. His family dropped him off at the airport in Alaska. The trip started off in King Cove, Alaska, and Raymond and his family were traveling all the way to Key West, Florida. This is why Raymond wanted to fly and not drive. When Raymond finally got on the plane, there were only a few people on it since only about 1,000 people live in King Cove, Alaska. All who was on the plane was Raymond, the airplane pilot, and a girl who was the same age as Raymond. The airplane had about 100 seats because it flew all across America and sometimes it was packed. The girl sat right next to Raymond. Her body was pushing up against his and this made him a little uncomfortable, so he put his suitcase on his lap for certain reasons I cannot say in this video, if you know what I mean. Haha. The girl asked him what his name was and he said Raymond. Then he asked her what her name is and she said Sheila. Sheila asked Raymond why he was flying by himself and he told her his story. Then he asked her why she was alone and her story was exactly the same as his. He thought this was a little sus but overall a funny coincidence. The flight was supposed to be about 16 hours long, but after 20 hours, Raymond and Sheila started to wonder what was going on. They went up to the pilot and asked him what was going on. The pilot said he got a little lost and made a whoopsie. But then the pilot told them not to worry and go sit back down and he would figure it out. Raymond and Sheila sat back down. Then Sheila said she had to use the bathroom. Raymond also had to use the bathroom, but the problem was that there was only one bathroom. Sheila said it was okay with her if he went in with her. When they got to the bathroom, they realized that they were just looking for an excuse to have some fun together. I won't go into details, but I think you guys get the point. 30 hours into the flight, Sheila and Raymond went to the captain again and asked him when they would be landing, and the pilot said he was just gonna land wherever they were because his GPS said they had left Earth, so it was clearly malfunctioning. Then, the pilot dove the plane down very steeply and they were rocketing down. Then they were plummeting down. Sheila and Raymond were both nervous, but the pilot said they were almost out of gas and if the plane runs out of fuel they would die regardless. Raymond and Sheila understood and sat back down into their seats and buckled up. After plummeting down for another half hour, the plane landed in water. The pilot told everyone to get the fuck out of the plane or else they will die. Sheila and Raymond complied with the captain's request and got out of the plane through using the emergency exit. The captain had to go down with the ship unfortunately because the plane was designed like shit and there was no emergency exit in the cockpit. Raymond and Sheila were now stranded in the ocean. Like and subscribe for part 2. Oh wait, you guys already have liked and subscribed. I guess I will have part 2 right now. Thanks for the support, guys. Sheila and Raymond had no clue what to do, so they both just decided to swim west towards the sunset. After about an hour of swimming, they saw land. They were very mega relieved. They both eventually climbed onto the land when they saw a shark right behind them. Luckily for them, the shark didn't notice them or else it would have probably eaten them. Sheila and Raymond walked throughout the land and asked someone where they were. The person said they were in Miami, Florida, which is about 100 miles north of Key West. Sheila and Raymond thanked the person for their assistance and started walking towards Key West. Then they realized, why don't they just Uber? So they Ubered, but when they arrived they didn't have any money, so they just had to make a run for it. Eventually, they were in the clear and made it away from the Uber driver and the cops. They slept on the streets for a few days and eventually, their parents saw them on the road and picked them up. Somehow the families had been traveling together in an RV. The kids asked the parents how they got the RV and the parents said they wanted to surprise them with it, but they chose to fly on an airplane instead. Everyone had a good laugh at that and they all exchanged stories. The parents' trip was quite uneventful. They had a good time in Florida and traveled around the rest of America for the next 3 months. Raymond also became a father on that vacation and Sheila was the mother, even though they were both only 14 years old. The end.